Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at basically the 8th anniversary part 2 event of the Annie battle and how you can complete it and all its missions. Now I'm going to be honest with you, these ones were pretty tough. Compared to the other missions, I think these ones are the ones with the, I don't want to say least margin for error, but these ones feel pretty tight. Like if you don't have the kind of premier units for these, feels like you can't really do them super duper well. The two missions require you to essentially complete the event with a Planet Namek Saga team, or to complete the event with a Saiyan Saga team. There's also another mission that requires you to complete the event with no items. So I think for me it's definitely, at least from my perspective, quite a challenging event. I think the Planet Namek team is a little bit easier than the Saiyan Saga team. The Saiyan Saga team is quite heavily dependent on having the giant ape Vegeta and the Kaioken Goku, and to have like one of the Saiyan Saga leads, and also requires you to have them with dupes to be something that's really efficient. Completing it in general, Saiyan Saga is relatively easy if you use items, because you have quite a few free-to-play units that you can use. But the no-item one's quite challenging. So for this reason, basically, what I did is I took the Planet Namek Saga team, and I decided to take it against Goku. Goku has 60 million health, fires a 1 million super. In the second phase he has 75 million health, fires a 1.3 million super, and he gets 9% attack with each attack received, and he also gets 9% crit chance with each attack received, up to 59%, and after 9 attacks he'll get attack and defense up of 59% as well. This is quite challenging because crit is not really something that's fun to play against, and Goku can hit pretty hard, so it puts you in a bit of an awkward position, because you could sit in a situation where ultimately you can end up taking quite a fair chunk of damage and honestly have a really big struggle with it. So I think for me, what I would say is, at least for me, there's definitely a lot of challenge here. Now, in terms of the Planet Namek Saga team, obviously I went with double AGL Frieza leads. This is something that is very helpful, and obviously I felt at least is one of the best ways to get things done. Then we went with the Planet Namek Saga Vegeta and Goku. We went along with some Gimme Force units. We went along with the Super Saiyan Strength Goku, got a pretty nice easy air, Kamehameha, Krillin and Gohan. And because of how messed up the team is, you'll see I'm linking up just whatever units I can together. There's not really like a objectively perfect method for getting these characters together. So it is one of those things that I do think can be quite a challenge. All in all, to be honest with you, I think for me, this team and everything functioned okay. Not gonna say it's the absolute best team, but I think it got things done with relative ease and relative consistency. Now, in terms of basically the second challenge, the Saiyan Saga challenge, this one you do have a lot more options with, because you have the free to play Saiyan Saga team, which ultimately is a pretty good free to play team to utilize. That team does a relatively good job. You have a lot of good options, and I only felt the need to augment it with the I only felt the need to augment it with the Kaiken Goku, really. For the most part, a lot of them were just free-to-play units, and it felt like a really solid and ultimately decent team. It did need a item or two to get through, but it did feel at the end of the day like it was going to be a fully functional team and a fully functional capability. In terms of how can I say, in terms of Gohan has 2 phases, 60 million health on the first phase, a 500k normal, 1.4 million super, and then in the second phase a 1.5 million super, and then when he falls below a certain health threshold, he'll switch to a 2.1 million super. It's nothing too crazy actually, because the thing is with the Goku unit recovered HP, which I always found very weird, because since when did Goku units recover HP? But basically, to cut a long story short, that was pretty challenging, because the difficulty was essentially, kind of taking on these very difficult situations with the healing, needing a lot of damage, and the way that Goku could crit. Gohan is a bit more of just a spongy unit, and this kind of makes him a little bit easier to handle. His super does hit harder than Goku's, but because he's more predictable, can't crit, and because ultimately you can set things up quite nicely, he's not as difficult as I would say you might find other classes and things to be, other units to be, at least that's my opinion. To cut a long story short, I found that the Saiyan Saga one was quite challenging, so I just used an item. It made things a lot easier. So for me, that was overall a pretty good, solid run through to do, and I think it just made life much simpler for me overall, and I felt like it made life a lot easier for me as well. Of course, you may find that maybe the Saiyan Saga team is easier for you to use. Go for it. But for me, definitely I found that the Planet Namek one, at least for me, felt a lot easier and simpler to put together. But yeah, by